Hello, friends. Welcome to Pod Maverick After Dark. It's, I don't know, about 9:15 on Monday, September 29th. We have 1 week to go until real basketball. Josh, how are you?
I'm doing good. It was nice to talk in our little pre-show that we have stuff to talk about.
Yeah, we had to kind of think about it instead of just going let's just wing it.
Yeah, let's do it then.
So we're here. So today was Dallas Mavericks Media Day. We'll just kind of jump right into it. And funny part for those of us who attempt to cover it both professionally and as hobbyists, the NBA's website said one thing. I couldn't find anything on the Mavs stuff anywhere else, and then it just kind of promptly started. It started between like 10:30 and 11, and then everybody was 15 minutes late. It was incredible. I just say that largely because it's nice to hear from guys again. We get when we don't hear from them from mid-April on, with the exception of like podcast episodes and things like that. Like for me at least, there's a little bit of I get a little bit energized hearing the bullshit.
Yeah.
Like it's so familiar. And it's nice. And I think we'll start at the top. With head coach Jason Kidd, who kicked off a pretty lengthy list of guys that had things to say. Not everybody talked, because that's just I will say this current regime doesn't do the thing where they seem to open it up the way Cuban's organization did, which is fine. But it was just kind of like a series of press conferences, whereas other media days, I think there's been a little more interactivity, things like that. I know that the Locked On Mavs guys were there, or they talked to Dennis Smith Jr. at one point, which is fun. But let's start with Jason Kidd. So I wrote a piece on this because it pissed me off. And I think that's largely just because I got to it first.
Yep.
In the middle of the workday. Why don't you kind of kick us off with what was said?
Yeah, let me pull up and make sure I have the exact quote. I was actually just looking at your story. So yeah, Jason Kidd was the first to talk, so he gets the first questions about Anthony Davis, not Anthony Davis, Kyrie Irving, who is recovering from his knee surgery. And there's just a lot of hope and optimism that Kyrie can come back sooner rather than later.
Tell me why. Why is there?
Because there's been some videos posted of him shooting, and people get excited. And I think generally people would rather be excited and hopeful than pessimistic that he's not going to come back. And because, like, if you want to believe in this team and this core, he kind of has to come back.
Sure.
So if you're someone who's pot committed to still being invested in this team, you sort of have to believe that Kyrie is going to come back, this season and be healthy. So there's all that. And Kyrie, to his credit, has, for the most part, every time he's talked about it, has kind of tried to tap the brakes on it. So and then also another big reason why people are excited about maybe him coming back is, Nico Harrison, the Mavericks general manager, during a summer league interview on NBA TV, on live TV, said he's ahead of schedule. Kyrie,
July 14th was the date of that live interview.
Not misquoting, literally said ahead of schedule.
Nationally televised.
Recovery. Yeah. And now Jason Kidd, when asked about it today, says, quote, "Now, I don't do well with medical. I'm not a doctor." It's funny. He said, "I'm not a doctor," because Locked On Mavs posted their Mavs Media Day bingo board, and Jason Kidd saying, "I'm not a doctor," was one of the spaces.
Really, really solid work, Nick.
Yeah, that board was pretty funny.
Good. I
got a chuckle out of that. Yeah. But when we do see Kai shooting, can we just refrain from saying ahead of schedule? That's bad reporting. He is doing quite well, as we can see, but he's not ahead of schedule. Let's not say that. That's unfair to him and to the Mavs, because it's not true. Now, is he on schedule? It looks like it. A lot of positive things are happening, but to say that he's ahead of schedule is not fair. All of this would be fine if Kidd was responding to a Tim McMahon ESPN report or a Sham Charania insider sources say. Yeah. This was his general manager on the record during a nationally televised broadcast on one of the league's TV partners. This is not bad reporting. And I know it's easy for Kidd to say this because it's really easy to just shit on the media, because, it's fun. I like to do it too sometimes. especially, it'll get us in trouble sometimes, but I like to do it too. But this was just him, because he knew he could say this, and the lapdogs would just be like, yeah, fuck the media, fuck the reporters, without actually looking back and being like, oh, it was your goddamn GM that said it, not a reporter. And that just pisses me off, because it's like,
well, and this is why I don't understand the role of reporters. Every fucking media person in that room knew who said it. Every one of them knew who said it, because these are smarter people that do this for their jobs. They knew Nico Harrison said this, and nary a contradiction was uttered that I could see. And at that point, I'm just like,
yeah, if I'm in the room, I'm like, hey guys, that wasn't bad reporting. You're like, Nico said
it.
I would say that to him, but they don't want to say that to him because they don't want to piss him off on the first day. Because media day,
I get,
is sing songs around the campfire and hold hands on media day, which,
And secondarily, I think there's an element to this that Jason Kidd knows what he's doing. Jason Kidd,
he absolutely knows he can get away with saying that.
But not get away with it. I think he has intention. I think the more this goes on, Jason Kidd, particularly so from the Luka trade onward, remember they sat down the day after the trade in Cleveland, and he tried cracking a couple of jokes that Kidd was like looking sideways at him. Kidd's one of the smartest basketball players of all time. I know Nico Harrison thinks he's really smart because he's a Nike executive that dropped the ball related to Steph Curry and traded Luka Doncic, but he's not Machiavellian in the way Jason Kidd is. Jason Kidd has exit plans for his exit plans. And I just think that there's paths being laid out where he's attempting to distance himself from Nico and things. And that's one of those things. To me, that's definitely like, that's a breadcrumb where he can say down the road, I didn't agree with this guy.
He's Philip Seymour Hoffman in Moneyball. I need to explain myself in job interviews next fall. He already started doing that with the Knicks thing. That's Jason Kidd's MO. But that was just annoying. That was like, why do we even have even Kidd? Why do we have to do why do we have to do that? Just be like, he's not ahead of schedule. Why do we have to take the shot at people? It's just stupid to do that already. And then which one we got 4 good topips. Which one do you want to go to?
Well, so from there, he was asked kind of the stuff we've covered throughout the summers about, lineups, and he wouldn't commit to anything, all of which is perfectly fine. Nor do I expect any sort of commitment. The rest of Kidd's press conference there was pretty rote. So after that, did AD come next or did Kyrie come next?
I think it was Kyrie.
So Kyrie came next. Let's just talk about Kyrie, because these two together, meaning Kidd and Kyrie, there's just a couple of smooth operators that I really, really value. And I mean that in a just the way to work a room. Kyrie just is so charming when he wants to be. And he the very first thing he said is he's like, I'm on track with my recovery. I'm on track.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody knows what that fucking track is. There is no track. There's no timetable. So it's just saying that with a smile is just such a great way to disarm a room. And I did a quick Google search. He essentially got the surgery done the last week of March. He is just past the 6-month mark of having the surgery. 9 months is a minimum. And that's like Adrian Peterson in whatever year he had his, and then came back and torched the league. 15 months is kind of more normal for feeling the best. I like the way they're playing as close to the best. And
no, honestly, everything they're doing about it is actually right. The only thing that pissed me off was Kidd's comment, because everything else they're actually trying to temper expectations, which is nice.
Which is very nice. Yeah. Very nice. I mean, the rest of the team, and I think we can talk about it here and there, seems to be they're assuming Kyrie comes back, and they need that. That's a thing to work towards. For them, we need to hold this down until Kyrie comes back. And I actually think that's pretty neat. I think that's a good aspirational goal for team building. Fan building for me, I've always held, and I will continue to hold. What wrestling was it? When Kevin Nash threw off the blanket and he stands up from the wheelchair.
Oh yeah, I mean that was like an episode of Nitro. Back in
It was like
late
long
90s.
time ago, but it's like I just need like the wrestling entrance where all of a sudden, actually a fan pointed this out to me today on the internet. Like Daniel Gaffford went from like we're not seeing him again to playing in 2 games. And that was actually, I like that because I had ruled Gaffford out for the rest of the season. And then Gaffford came back and they made the plan, and that is what it is. But it was like, oh, okay, this is fun. So I sort of have been holding fort in my brain thinking, all right, I don't expect Kyrie to come back because it puts too high of expectations on him. And I don't know if that's fair to him. And he's not said anything about fairness on his streams, but he has made it very clear that his comfort in playing takes precedence above everything else. And I that's like the right call.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, what, he's 33, 34? Like he cannot.
He'll be 33, I think, by the time he comes back. I could be wrong.
Like this is kind of his last hurrah as an all NBA level player. Like he has to get this recovery right, because if he doesn't, there's the runway is shortening for his career. Not to say like he's toast right now, but I'm just saying like he cannot come back from this too soon and risk further injury. Well, like, he has to be right. He's not at the age where you can risk this kind of stuff.
So there's a roughly, God, I can't remember where I saw this, but for football players, there's essentially like a 1 in 4 chance of re-tearing your ACL. And that's just due to how they operate and how they move. Kyrie Irving is such a unique player in how he moves, like the way he plants, the sort of herky-jerky stop-start motion of his game. You need your knees for what he does. And so it's just everybody just all right, let's just be excited about how he feels. I just, this is related to kind of the next subject. It drives me nuts when ESPN talks about it this way, but seeing a photo of number 1 pick Cooper Flagg, number 1 pick Kyrie Irving, and number 1 pick Anthony Davis is cool. Like it's just I remember us having conversations as recently as 2022 about how Dallas had almost no pedigree on their roster, and now they have 3 number 1 picks. Like it's just wild.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, 3 number. Wow, how often does that happen?
It's not that. That's the.
I can't be often.
Not to go Mavs Moneyball editor, but that's a piece. As I scream into the void at our writers who are like, love sending messages in Slack. That's right. I'm subtweeting all of you guys on the podcast. All right, so 13 or so minutes. Let's take a short break, and then we can kind of talk about some of the other stuff that came out. There's a couple more fun things and then some weird things. I want to hit one of the fun ones right out of break. So if you guys will do us a favor and hang out during the ads, I know they're a little long, but that's just what we're being asked to do, and it is the way Josh and I make money. So we'll be right back. Okay, thank you so much for hanging out, guys. We're going to be ramping back up. Next Monday night is the first preseason game. I will be having the post-game show with Josh, where we will attempt to talk about what we see insofar as if we can even find the game on television. I'm always worried about that with preseason. And then I'm going to, really try to heavily reinstitute the post-game show where you guys can participate. Fan participation in this show, listener participation is one of the things that has driven the just kind of the momentum of this show the last 3 to 4 years, and it's a big part of why I keep doing it. And it's something that I like really gets me going and gets me up the next day to do the show. So, be on the lookout for that. I might host one of those maybe Wednesday night or even tomorrow night because my wife has to work late. So just be looking for that on your feeds. If you want to join our YouTube channel and press the bell, you will get notified when we go live. And it's really easy to join the show. Like if you've joined a Zoom call for work or if you've joined FaceTime on your iPhone, it is a one button push and it can be a lot of fun. All right, before we get to AD, because I think he's probably going to be the funnier, just the longer talking point of this show. Derek Lively saying he's 7'3" is just the most media day thing. Like I love it. I have the NBA media or NBA rarely like remeasures, so I doubt we will ever know if this is true. But it's such a fun story for me because did you see the photo of Victor Wembanyama and Tim Duncan and David Robinson this summer?
No, I don't think I saw that one.
If you Google it while I'm talking here, there's the three of them together, and I think maybe Manu and Victor Wembanyama looks 7'8". Like we're not 7'5". Like he is towering over the rest of them. And I bring this up to say,
oh yeah, that was from. I don't even think that was from this summer. That was from like I'm looking at it now. That was from. I think that was from like his rookie year.
No, there's a recent one. It's from this summer. I remember this
because he has hair because I know he doesn't have hair right now.
Yeah, I do remember that one too. But my point being is, I think Derek Lively is engaged in a height-based arms race, and I am here for it because 7'3" dudes are rare. Granted, they're a little bit injury prone, but we're not going to talk about that right now. It was just kind of nice to hear from Lively. You know, he talked about turning the page, which I think was accurate. Like it's something I appreciate the Mavericks saying this. Like they're like, we're still here. Let's talk about the team that's here. And, you know, he's had kind of a tumultuous last 18 months himself. You know, he's barely 21 years old. His mom passed away the season the Mavericks made the finals, or at least the last couple of weeks before the Mavericks made the finals. He has a 1-year-old baby. I desperately would love to ask him how having a 1-year-old impacted his second year in the league, because parenting is really hard.
Yes, it is. Absolutely.
And I'm just like, I had forgotten that he had the baby, and it sort of has made me recontextualize elements of his second season outside of the injury, because
right.
it's like, that's a lot to throw at anybody. Yes.
Yeah, especially his age too.
Did anything else from what you saw about him strike any nerves?
I mean, if he's 7'3", I mean, that's awesome, but also, like, does this guy really need to be taller with the lower body injuries that he's picking up? Like, I'm just saying, like, the history of 7'3" guys in the NBA is not great in terms of keeping them healthy. But he's also like a pretty phenomenal athlete. He's a fluid athlete, which I think helps. I know like Kristaps Porzingis had a lot of lower body injuries, but he wasn't. He was athletic, but he wasn't fluid, which is really hard to like describe. But I don't think Lively suffers from that in terms of the way he moves. So that part was interesting. I think he said he wanted to shoot some more threes. Again, I'll believe it when I see it. People keep telling me like, you know, the Mavericks have a floor spacing center, and I'm like, guys, Lively's made no 3-pointers.
He did mention the shooting of threes and trailing. I know, but I like that it came up.
To see it.
Because
yeah, I know.
If it comes up, it means it's something we can then talk about further. If they never hit on it, we can't. You know, we're talking about a counterfactual that doesn't exist. So it's like that he's mentioning it is of interest, even though I tend to think you're right.
Yeah, I know. We'll see. It's just one of those things where I don't care how much they talk about it until he shoots 2 or 3 threes in a game, a regular season game. I just kind of have to wait and see.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I'm excited that, you know, Daniel Gaffford spoke, and I'm glad, you know, I mistweeted because our staffer David led me astray, and he's now fired. Sorry, David. But I thought no one asked the Gaffford about starting, because I think that's important, because it didn't really come up a lot last season because everyone got hurt.
Yes.
So they didn't. But at the beginning of the season, I think Mark Stein in preseason last year made note that like Gaffford is starting because they think that could be better for the locker room in terms of like, so like it might matter to Gaffford that he should be starting. So I'm glad someone asked Gaffford about it. Now he gave the answer you're supposed to give. He said that he and Derek Lively avoid all the outside noise when it comes to who starts, who comes to the bench. Doesn't care really who starts, which that's what you're supposed to say. But we'll see. And I'm curious how that's going to work, because I think the Mavs want Lively to start. If you kind of read from what they publicly say and then what the source reporting says. But I think it's pretty clear that Gaffford wants to start too, because like I think a lot of people on the outside try to make it's not a big deal because everyone's going to play, like the minutes even out, and doesn't matter who starts, matter who closes, and all that stuff. Like, guys care. Like, these guys are too competitive to not care. We might be able to analytically present a case for why starting doesn't matter if the minutes distribution works like this, but your NBA players, there's only 400 or whatever of them in the world. There's some of them professional athletes are some of the most competitive, most driven people in the world. That's the only way you can get to this level for the most part. So, like, I think he cares. And I don't think that's a bad thing that he cares. So I'm just curious to see how that holds out. Like, there's so many storylines about, like, is AD going to play the 5? Where's Cooper playing? And Clay? Is Clay going to start? How are they going to fit PJ, AD and Cooper all in the starting lineup? I'm very curious to see how the Lively Gaffford thing works out. And maybe it works itself out because there's injuries. And of course, Gaffford getting paid, I think, makes a big deal. I think that was a point I made a couple podcasts ago, that it's probably easier to bring Gaffford off the bench now that he's secured his money. You're not messing with his money. But we'll see. I'm curious to see how that minutes allotment and that start bench thing comes together.
Yeah. No, and it's a fun one to watch. Lively hasn't played 100 regular season games yet. That's it's not to be like negative about him, because I'm still really high on him, but we're in prove it time. There's some discussion in the chat about Lively's next contract. If Lively keeps playing 50 games, some of the stuff doesn't matter. Like, there's not money on the market for a 50 game. There's some, but it's not like you're not going to get some big restricted offer for a center who plays 50 games a year.
You're right.
It is what it is. All right. So the big story of the day, guys, if you've not seen a photo of Anthony Davis's eye, we have been led astray, bamboozled. I am genuinely irritated by what has transpired here, because it is very clear. Like, Anthony Davis has to wear goggles for the rest of his career.
That's good though, because he was kind of kicking and screaming about that.
Yes,
for a while.
It is great in that it's a finality thing. Like, there's no question. It is a medical requirement of him. So it's like there's clarity there. That's what I mean by it's great. Clarity is important when it comes to injuries. Gaffford apparently accidentally elbowed him during a game. I don't remember. I vaguely remember this happening, but not like which game or when it was happening.
Yeah, because he didn't miss any time.
He didn't miss any time, but he had a detached retina. And I have so many questions, like so many questions, because, guys, if you know anything, if you've read, Googled detached retina, he could have lost his eyesight.
Yeah, I don't know how he was playing.
I have once again another question about the Dallas Mavericks medical group that they have now. Dr. Leo Spaceman and Dr. Nick from The Simpsons must be heading up the crew here, because the injury stuff that's going on is just really gross. Moving on from that, the eye looks really gross and red. And it honestly looks like, if you've watched Alien Earth, it looks like the eye alien has gotten stuck in his eye. If you don't, I tweeted about it because I couldn't not see it. But
he says the redness is not because of pain or discomfort. He says he's fine. It's because of the eye drops he has to take. For what it's worth.
Sure.
Just saying.
My acid-based eye drops making my eyes red. I'm sure. Look, I can't help but be sarcastic about this because it's ridiculous. The reporting around it has been bad, in the sense of we've not gotten enough information at the right time, which is part of what happens in the late part of summer. Nobody's paying attention. There's not a lot of reason for reporters to go burn and really go go through the process of tracking down information, because no one's listening yet. But it bothers me that the franchise player at the moment, which is Anthony Davis, like it or not, was in quite a serious medical situation. Just was. And it's really being downplayed, and I don't like it. I don't know. I just now how this pivots to the rest of the season, I mean, he said that he's quoted as saying he wants to be on the floor as much as possible. I mean, that's duh. I mean, I've never doubted Anthony Davis's will. I sometimes doubt his, I don't know, his ability to take a punch, but that's, it's not like he doesn't want to play basketball. This isn't a Kawhi Leonard thing where he's sitting out to make a statement. It just kind of is who he is. I mean, Harambe in the chat says he's cursed, and there's something to that with the way the guy plays. What else did you think about him?
I'm glad he's wearing goggles, and I will defend. Like, I know our LA friends were like, oh, finally, because apparently this has been something that's been recommended to him for a while because he's had multiple eye injuries in the past.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I will, in my defense, and you're someone who wears glasses, so I don't know how much this came up for you when you played, but as someone who played basketball before I had contacts, I was still wearing glasses and had to protect either sports goggles, or I was literally in middle school, I was wearing my glasses. Playing basketball with glasses or any type of eyewear sucks. Full stop. It sucks. It gets sweaty. They get fogged up. You got to clear them off. It's not easy to see, and because you don't have that peripheral. If you're
I get why he doesn't want to do it.
It sucks. I hate it. I would be kicking and screaming too about it if I were him. I don't blame him at all. It sucks. Now, of course, what I did was I got contacts. And I didn't have to worry about that anymore.
Did I ever tell you my story?
Which one?
So my junior year, I was a bench player. I was a bench player my whole time. It's fine. Yeah. Played minutes, so I was in the rotation. My junior year, I could not hit a free throw. I mean, I literally shot 33% from the line. Probably small volume. We're talking 20, 25 attempts over the whole season.
Yeah.
They made me get glasses. It occurred to somebody to get my eyes tested. And my senior year, I shot 85%. Fucking see. Just I went through my whole life being pretty blind, and just nobody noticed. It was outstanding.
That's funny.
Anyways, I just thought that was funny. Prime Shaq numbers. Thanks, Ark. So Anthony Davis is we got to see him play. I'm looking forward to seeing him play.
Everyone's healthy to start training camp besides Kyrie. That's what kids said. Everyone's going to be a full go at practice tomorrow. Yep. I know. I know you
grew up in Vancouver.
Yep.
For reasons, nobody kids talk about why team bonding. I like that. They seem to be. Klay Thompson sort of touched on this. He said something about the fact that he wants clips of the 2011 team, things being played around facilities all the time, which I found very interesting. Klay is kind of the team's true vet. And I find the sort of I'm trying to think of the way to describe the mentality. There's a bit of a bunker mentality with these Mavericks that I admire.
Well, last season sucked for them. It just did. We can't emphasize enough how unfun that must have been for them to go through. As much as we talked about the fan experience of how awful it was post Luka trade, to watch that team, to experience that team, to see all the post, the Nico quotes and all the reporting and the injury, it sucked just as bad for the players, and they pretty much said it. I mean, that frustration boiled over. PJ Washington got mad after, when the fans were doing chants during his free throws and stuff. There's definitely a feeling this media day of all right, let's put this. That's enough of that. Let's have, regardless of how good, they obviously think that they're going to be good, but there's almost, I feel, a sense of man, let's just play basketball. We just need to do that and not talk about anything else.
And I think, heading up to Vancouver, bonding, doing all that sort of stuff, I think is important because you have to generate, Jordan was epic at this, Kobe too. You have to sort of generate your own windmills to fight because the season is just too long. You don't want to fight each other. You need an external force. The 2011 Mavericks were fantastic at this because people did not believe in them because they were the Mavericks and they had just failed over and over again. So I like that notion that Klay's having stuff, around the office. He also I think our guy Kevin, if you're in the chat today, just understand that I love you to pieces. I can't believe you asked about Meg the Stallion. Like, don't do that. Clay, there's a look on Clay's face like, what? You're asking me about this? Anyway, that made me
media
laugh.
day. That's when you get those questions.
Right. Just this, Kevin's a great, he's a good worker, right? Great worker, good reporter. Just made me laugh that was the thing that he got asked about. So it's like I'm going through kind
anything
of
from Cooper. I didn't really look. Did you see any Cooper stuff? Or it was kind of boiled,
he had like I got shout out to Noah Weber for actually posting this because I never would have gotten to this point in the interview. This is the last thing Noah Weber of the Smoking Cuban posted today. He says Cooper it's such a dumb thing to talk about, but I love it. Cooper Flagg said that picking peas in Maine during the summer growing up helped build work ethic and build mental toughness. Like, thank you for the whitest player quote of 2025.
I swear to God, I feel like Cooper Flagg is a CIA psyop to get a certain demographic of basketball fans back engaged in the NBA. Like, it is, you could not AI. I mean, well, you couldn't AI generate it because it probably would have been shitty. But you cannot make up a perfect. Like, his name is. I still can't over that his name is Cooper Flagg. He's a white #1 overall NBA player named Cooper Flagg. It's just so funny. It's like it's like he was made in a lab to be like, okay,
yes,
we need to get the whites back into watching our sport. How do we do that? All right, let's create a super athletic dunking 6'9" forward from Maine who's named Cooper Flagg, and he picked peas on his family's farm to build toughness like he's Paul fucking Bunyan. Like, it's so funny to me.
It's great stuff. It's great stuff. I love this. Shout out to our commenters for joining us tonight because I want to argue with like 4 of you. That's how I know basketball is back.
That's how you know you've got the fire back.
Well, I really got the fire back. It's taking a lot for me not to like yell at our 30-person Slack group and be like, you telling me y'all got nothing to say about this media day. We've just been so starved for content. There was one other thing, and I got to tell you, if you missed this, it's probably my favorite thing for media day, and maybe it's a great opportunity just to end on this. Isaac Harris of Locked On Mavs, they talked to Dennis Smith today. Dennis Smith Jr.'s back. We talked about that a little bit. Did you see this quote? Do you know what I'm going to read?
I haven't seen. Is it about Dwight Powell?
Yes.
Okay.
All these changes, I still have my dog, Dwight Powell. Just like Dwight Powell is always. He is permanence. He's gosh, I made a Avengers joke. He's the
inevitable.
He's just inevitable. He just is always there. Like, I love seeing the Mavs showing clips of it in the summer of him like shooting jumpers. It's like, what is he shooting jumpers for? Like, what? I don't know if I have much more to comment on tonight. I honestly had a pretty like just busy day. So it's like once I missed everything else, I didn't get enough into what anybody else says, but it just didn't seem like there was anything too hot and heavy going on. I did see something from Lakers Media Day, which I think will really, really make the group laugh. Shout out to Maxi Kleber for saying out loud that he's finally healthy. I just like what? Like, knock on wood, brother.
Yeah,
you haven't been finally healthy in like 9 years. What are we doing here? Yep. All right. Trying to think if there's like any scheduling reminders or things we want to talk about. If you would like to argue with me, be on the look. I mentioned this earlier. Be on the lookout for a YouTube link. Show's really easy to join. Love talking hoops with just about everybody. Other than that, maybe let's just get out of Dodge. It's going to be a long season.
Yep. Let's do it.
All right, guys. It's been Kirk Henderson and Josh Bro. This has been Pod Maverick. Subscribe, like the show, leave a comment. I try to check. I'll get better about checking all this stuff now the season's going to be back. We will be back next week if not earlier, but that might be dependent on any actual news happening. I don't know. It's a long year. We do roughly, it's 82 post game pods plus whatever extra ones we throw in. Got to kind of save the energy. It's a long year. Yep. Everybody be good. Thanks so much for checking back in with us, and we will talk with you soon. Go Mavs.